it's time for the tattoos. So this is where you've got to get it right. Like I said before, you know, you can always rectify a mistake. We're about to paint red over white. So we've got to make sure that we put this in the right position. So let me just get my reference material up. So bear with me a moment. Right. So not too far off. Spare me a second, just trying to find my reference material. Oh, it's here somewhere. Where are you? Come on. Because if you've got any reference material, it means that you can sort of pick the gaps and the spaces that you're after quite easily. In terms of doing any freehand, if you can pick the right positions, especially if someone's done it before, or if you like a design that someone else has used, you know, it can save a lot of time, especially if you're trying to get it a certain way and look a certain way. Okie dokie. So I've found my reference material. Okay, so looking at these eyes then, so what I'm going to do is the base colour is going to be a similar tone to what we used on the glass. So we're going to use Rhinox Hide and Mephiston Red again. And these are going to do the lines on there. So we are at 1 hour 42. So another 20 minutes and we should be good. I'm not going to show you how to varnish because that's quite easy. However, when it comes to varnishing, I use a brush-on varnish now. I do not use a rattle can varnish, and obviously I don't have an airbrush. The paint on varnish, I do not worry at all that I'm going to get it wrong. So right, let's start with the bottom eye first. So this is just a triangle going down, so wider at the top, thinner at the bottom, and try and get a smooth line on each side where possible. So again, I am using my size 0 for this one. Again, because it's got a good point on the top that I'm used to using. I trust this brush to do it right for me. I feel like I still need a little bit on that right side. So let's do a bit more on that right side. Okay, so there's that line going down. And then I've got reference points. So what I was talking about with you, Rich. So I've done this before, so I know where I want the reference points to be. So the bottom of the spike is roughly about there. Top corner of the next spike is up there. And the third part is about there. So what I will do now is, because I know that's what I'm after, I will now draw a line. It's quite a big blob, that actually. So I will draw a line from there up to my top line, and then make that into a triangle, not too large. Get it into the recesses of that groove there. And then I know I want it to go over to this marker here. So top line to there, and then bottom line to there. So because I've done that before, I know my reference points. And that's your first part of that done. Now underneath that there is an angled triangle that starts just below it, that isn't too big. But finishes up touching the groove. Again, this is a lot smaller than it might look, so again, a good brush. And this is why I'm constantly telling you that I use Artis Opus brushes, because they are so good. Okay, so that's them lines tidied up. So you can kind of see what that looks like now. So, and then we'll do the same on the other side. So pick them reference points again. So the reference point is down in this little corner here, up to the top. In there. And the reference point out there. About there. So get that in there. And again, that small triangle that points the same direction. I'm saying you're trying your best to keep this clean and tidy. So it goes up to the top. Looks okay. Just need to just fatten out this one a little bit. Okie dokie. So, and then we need to do the bottom line on here. So we had half go through there. Bit more water in the paint. The paint's, you can always feel when the paint's starting to dry up. Just makes it a little bit harder to work onto the model. So what I usually do there is I'll just stick a little bit of water back in the mix, clean my brush and go again. Okay, and then get some paint in that groove. Okie dokie, so we are good on both sides. So now it's time to mix a little bit more red into the brown. Create that sort of that red mid-tone that we're after. Okay, and now we have our little templates. We just need to fill those with the red colour. Don't have to go all the way right down to the bottom because that's just adding the outside colour. that's done. Okay, right onto the other side. Okay. Okay, so that's a bit more of the red done. Okay, so let's go to a final red colour. So I'm just going to jump in now. I'm not going to mix this into my previous colour. Just going to go straight in with a red over the top. So you can see how that's just filled that colour nicely. Okay, so this is all starting to come together really, really well now. And we're almost there. So what I would say, guys, if you're watching and if you enjoyed this, I will be clipping this live stream down and I'll be sticking it up on my YouTube channel. So I've got a YouTube channel as well where, because these streams only stay on Twitch for I think it's 14 days. So what I'm doing is I'll film a stream and then I'll clip it into a few different parts and then upload it onto my YouTube page. So currently we hit 100 subscribers this morning on the YouTube page, which was quite nice. Nice little milestone. And yeah, so head over there. What you'll also find over there is the Enigma Code video series. Now, if you've not seen what that is, basically it's a way of winning free stuff just by watching some of my videos. Within them videos, there is a hidden code, which if you find the code and figure it out, ready for the last episode. So I think we're 7 episodes in now, out of 10. So there's going to be 10, so there's 3 more to go. So a good time to get involved. Go and have a look, and basically if you solve the code, or be one of the first to solve the code, you can win some free prizes, and I'll ship them worldwide. So if you're in another country, don't worry, I will ship it out to you if you are a winner. So the idea is that you have to subscribe to the channel, you have to watch each video and put watched in each video, then you also have to solve the code as well, which is the hard bit. Well, it's not really that hard, but it's, it's going to make you think and have a good look at the videos. And yeah. So if you fancy a bit of that, go over and check it out and have a look. Stick a subscribe on there, like the videos and all that usual palaver. Okie dokie. So, right guys, so this is nearly done. We have just got some eyes and a little bit of metal to do. So, that shouldn't take too long. So, for the eyes, we are using, base is going to be Steel Legion Drab, and then we're going to highlight that with Uriel Yellow. So, base coat of Steel Legion Drab. So what we do is just paint a nice small circle in here. So again, water your paints down, get a good tip on your brush, And this is where the face really starts to pop out of the model. I've got to say, when I painted this the first time, these eyes were brilliant. I loved painting them. So you can see straight away, just with a good brush, how I've managed to paint that circle first time. Just try and make it a little bit bigger. So all I do then is just edge cut each side out a touch. Okay, so that's on there. Then on the original one, I highlighted, which is a bit weird, this might sound, we highlighted down. So the way the Inquisitor's eyes look in all the reference material that I looked at, his eyes went down. The glow was at the bottom of his eyes. So the way I'm going to do this first is forget about the pupil in the middle first. So we just do a circle, and then we stick the highlight towards the bottom, roughly, but obviously staying within your circle. So that's getting a bit chunky, so clean the brush, fresh little bit of paint on the brush, and then straight away that's much better. So we'll highlight it down towards the bottom. Okay, then a bit more yellow goes in. So I did base coat, then about a 50-50 mix, and now I'm virtually on pure Uriel yellow. On the bottom edge there, so you can see that just right on the bottom edge. And the same on this side. Now right at the bottom. And then I think let's just go a little bit more Uriel yellow. So it goes towards the front, so we'll get a bit more towards the front on this side, so it's symmetrical. Okay, so that's the circular part of the eyes done. And now we just want to put a black spot right in the middle. So again, good brush is needed, nice sharp point. Give my paint a good mix, and then what I do, I'll show you what I do if you can see it, is I just get the good point on my brush, a little twist in the mouth if needed, dip my brush in, just the tip, if you can see that, so just the tip goes in, and it leaves a nice rounded edge on the bottom there. So you pick up your model, find the middle, just dab it into the middle of the eye, like that, and that's how you do the eye. So same again here, so I've got a little bit of paint left on my brush, but we'll just dab it in to get that nice rounded point back. Pick the model up, and then dab it into the middle, and there's that eye done as well. Okie dokie, so last little bit of metal, and we're done. So I'm going to get a lead belcher silver, again Citadel base colour, lead belcher, a little bit on my palette, bit of water. There's a couple of little metal bits that I want to highlight. So these circular bits on the side, just very roughly paint them in, and then paint the outside of the wheelie bit. Same on the other side. So roughly paint the inside bit, not too, so you're not trying to stick loads of paint in there. So a little bit of silver on there. And then if you remember, we said we were going to pick out some of these little lines in this section here. So again, good brush. Pick out some of these little lines, and especially this big one at the back. I always like picking them out. Just breaks up that little flat coloured section. Same on the other side. A Hopefully I'm keeping this in the right place on the camera. So get them in there like that. I try and highlight within this little wing section here, there's just a little pronounced square section. So I like to paint that. Give that a little go over. And then just like to pick out a couple on the back of this flat section here. So there's a vertical one and a horizontal one. And again, just gets a big, large, flat space. Just sometimes, just sticking a little bit of a dab of colour in there, just breaks it up. And then across the top there, across the top there. Okay, and that just breaks it up a little bit. So when it's on the tabletop, it looks a little bit better. And then also what I'm going to do, so I'm just going to paint the top line of this back section. So there you go, that does that. I'm not going to do anything inside the wings because again, the attention's drawn to the outside. And I made a touch of a little mistake there. So a tiny little bit of dark black and grey. So that tidies that up. And then we've got two tiny bits, but this is what makes the front of the ship pop. So, guns. We've got to paint the guns. So the lasers that come out of these little things are green, I believe. So again, same thing we did before. I'm going to be using moot green as a colour. So we'll go in there. We literally get the tip of your brush and get some paint on the tip of your brush. You find your guns and stick a blob on the end of your guns. So there's your guns. That's it, done. And then the very, very last bit, before I call this completed, is the little tiny glare spot that I'm going to do on the main part of the canopy. So I'm going to get my white, same again, brush, very good point, tiny little bit of paint on the end of it. And then I always put mine at the top left. And you just faintly touch it till you feel the paint attach. And if you can just see that, a little glare spot, and that is how you paint the TIE Inquisitor with the Inquisitor markings. So a couple of little bit of housekeeping bits to do on it now, which is just painting the bottom section of the stem in Abaddon black base, just in case you got anything else on it. With all of these models, I spray them black to start with. In fact, this brush is too fine to do that. So back to my size. Back to my size 1 brush. You know, a lot of people actually comment on the fact I've got black bases. They say, "Oh, how'd you do that?" I say, "Well, you just paint it. That's it. You just paint black." Literally, you can get a Chaos Black spray paint or a bit of Chaos Black on a brush like this. It's just tidying it up, which is done. And then we just varnish it. So I have 2 varnishes. Basically, I use a Vallejo. Just bear with me a second. So I've got a bit of a secret ingredient here that I use as well. So for a main matte varnish that I use this matte varnish from Vallejo. I think it cost a couple of quid off eBay when I got it. And I just brush this on over the whole model. Now, obviously you've got lots of glass and canopy on this that you want to kind of pop out. So I paint that on the rest of the model. And then I've got something that's probably 20 years old, that might be older than some of the viewers. This is a Games Workshop Water Effects resin. Now, I use this as a gloss varnish and it works so well. It's literally, I've got about half of it left and I've used it on so many models and it's just so hard wearing. It's amazing. But you can see by the faded colour, £10.80 at the time. I remember that being really expensive. But all I do is just drop a bit of this into the lid. Literally just in the lid, just in there. And then when it comes to painting it in, get an old brush, not a new brush because you're going to wreck it. So I've got an old stubby brush here, which is an old Citadel brush. Get a little bit on my brush and stick it on. Doesn't need a lot and just needs a tiny bit. It might look a bit milky at first, but when it starts to dry, it looks amazing. And you know, if you've ever seen any of my ships in the flesh and you look at the canopy and you think, wow, how does that look like that? Well, here's your secret ingredient. Now, I'm pretty confident you're not going to be able to buy this any longer anyway. And I'm definitely not selling any of it. But yeah, this is how it goes on and how it works. So this top section is actually quite fiddly. So I'm just going to get an old Artisopus brush that's really fine. And then that's going to put the varnish up into the top panels, because obviously they're glass as well. And there you go, you can kind of just see that starting to dry off a bit. It takes a little while for that to cure. When I'm doing dials and stuff, I usually coat the dial in this stuff, and it can take 24 hours to dry. Stick it over the radiator and leave it to it. So, okay guys, well, thank you very much for tuning in to watch me paint this model. I always enjoy doing this. It's such a good model. And I love painting the glass on all the Imperials as well. The glass on the Imperials just looks fantastic. So thank you all for tuning in and watching. I'll let you know next time I'm due to go live with another video. Likely it's scheduled in for 7 o'clock on Sunday evening. So if you're around then and you want to come and watch me paint something else, likely to be carrying on with my Savage Press fire spray. So tune in. Thank you for everyone for the follows as well. And if you haven't followed so far, please follow now. And let's try and hit that goal. We've got 4 days to go and we've got another 11 subscribers needed. So I'm quite sure we can hit that goal, or I hope so. So thank you very much for tuning in. Wyfols, I can see the stars in your eyes from here, pal. So I'm glad you like it. Oh, quick question. What would you like to paint that you haven't painted yet? Ooh, I'll be honest, I'm looking forward to painting my Lat gunship when it arrives, to go with my Republic stuff. Other than that, I would have said the Savage Press fire spray, but I've already started doing that, so I'm really happy with that so far. I don't know, let's find some weird and wonderful history behind some of these ships and let's get it painted. But I'll paint anything. I love Star Wars. I love these miniatures. I love the game. It's such a fantastic game. So again, thank you everybody for tuning in. We'll call it a day there. Like I say, this video will get, or this stream will get cut up into some videos and be on the YouTube channel over the next day or so. So stay tuned. So thank you again. Follow if you haven't, and we'll see you in the next video.